I have a love of training at home. Peace and solitude, I'm close to my family, and I get to fantasize that I'm training alone during the apocalypse, which means I'm technically the world's strongest man by default. Now recently with a new kid, I don't have the option to escape to a gym for hours a day like I'm used to. After years of my training centering around competitive prep, I do bias towards bigger competitive gyms, for the atmosphere, for the excessive equipment, and for the chalk bowls filled with bottles of ammonia. But there is really nothing preventing me from getting competition ready at home. And the truth is, if I can do it, you sure as shit can. Now, the big problems around home gyms are faced by everybody. You have a small space, limited money, and that means you have to do the hardest thing anybody has to do in Western culture. Decide where to spend your disposable income. Now, I can help with that since A, I don't like a bunch of cluttered shit in my space, B, I'd rather DIY equipment than overspend on it, and C, I have to have a setup that actually can get me ready to go to Worlds. So it's not just my personal preferences, but it's actually what provides value to training. So let's go over my list of the most versatile pieces of equipment for your garage gym. Now, real quick, this vid was brought to you by my new baby. No, not that baby, this baby. Stick around to the very end for more info on the Base Strength AI app or hit the link below. Level 1, old boy training. Nothing but a barbell and plates. Now, I've always said that I can get stronger than most with nothing more than a barbell and a floor space wide enough to get the plates on. I call this old boy training because I imagine it being done in forced isolation, under desperate circumstances, and fueled primarily by vodka and frozen dumplings. It takes a lunatic to do this, but the results are also loony. With just a bar, you can clean, press, pull, and row, which are most of the tentpole compound movements that should be the backbone of your workouts anyway. And with no other option to distract you, you have to get really good at these movements. And these movements give more gains per drop of sweat than anything else. But a lot of buyers do get unnecessary anxiety from a false sense that small differences in barbells matter a lot. Is the knurling hill, mountain, or volcano? Did it use bushings or bearings? Is the diameter of the bar perfectly fitted to my peculiarly shaped hands? Home gym people can be like car people or foodies, where they can only signal their expertise to others by being really picky over inconsequential bullshit. Like, how else are people supposed to know that you have a discriminating palate? But as far as results go, those people typically look like someone you would associate with having a discriminating palate. On the other hand, the Pete Rubishes, the Trey Mitchells, and the Tom Havilands of the world are home gym versions of raccoons. Give me your trash and I'll build a fucking castle. To get on my Strongman Elitist soapbox, the sport has made me not picky with my barbells. The barbells I've had to lift on competition day included those that were covered in a coat of paint, which happened to be chipping, and rusted tetanus bombs like the literal axles from literal junkyards. The point is that obsessing over minutia around your barbell really distracts you from the goal, which is to find something trusty that you can use without problems and without breaking the bank. Trust me, you'll get used to whatever you train with, and you're not missing out by not having some other feature. Your pecs, glutes, and biceps can't tell the difference, and as far as the other muscle groups go, fuck them, they don't matter. Now, of course, there's exceptions, like Olympic lifters that need the bar to spin so they don't break their wrists, and maybe like no center knurling so they don't get road rash on their throat. They might need something that's specific to them, but everybody else just needs something that won't bend from modest, responsible training. Only thing I really look for is like a 1,500 pound rating, which is most decent power bars these days. So I can do like rack pulls without it getting warped beyond use. But honestly, even then, like I would still use it. Bent bar benches are great for wrist strength or getting some time off work for medical leave. You can get a new beater bar relatively cheap, or you can spend a week on Craigslist looking for a find. Pro tip, if you see divorce sale with paraphernalia from a man cave, neon beer signs, a PlayStation 3, DVD set of both Weekend at Bernie's, you can be guaranteed that whatever fitness equipment you see in the pile, she will let go for pennies on the dollar. The other pro tip is to look for auction hubs near you. This wasn't such a thing before Amazon ruled the world, but now there is an entire economy around auctioning off Amazon returns, and that includes weights and bars. Government sites work well too, and I've had a few ship machines to my place, LTL, pretty cheap. So see what's around you, or you can just save yourself the time and hassle and pony up, which is really not that much coin. I got these two barbells on Craigslist for $200 combined. It's cool that one is an Oli bar and the other a power bar, but really I just got them so me and Laura can train together. No matter what, bar and plates are the bread and butter of any home gym. Fortunately, it's also the cheapest and easiest to come by. Level 2, the power lifter, graduating to squat, bench, and deadlift. This requires a rack. You can go full Atlas Power Shrugged with a barbell, cement blocks, and other found objects and get really fucking jacked and bendy. But a rack and a bench press opens up a world of options. Unless you really just only have room for thin, wobbly uprights, there's no reason to not get a power rack. Uprights don't provide safeties, but racks do, and I wouldn't be caught dead squatting without safeties. Every time I'm at Primal, the powerlifting gym near me, I sit safely in my power rack and watch the other lifters insist on squatting out of the combo rack the way a drunk hillbilly watches NASCAR, just waiting for something to go wrong. Now, more importantly, power racks let you do pull-ups and bench presses. They let you add bands, and they let you do pin work. Now, this is one of the best strength accessory movements in my opinion, and you can do a pin variation for every compound lift. I even use them for like JM presses and skull crushers. You can go obnoxious, tempo, full range, pause, technique, cyborg, a la Mike Israetel in Renaissance periodization for those sick full ROM gains. But if you hit some heavy pin work from a dead stop right after to get that neural drive on point, you will find it's a match made in internet influencer heaven. Now, not only are the modern tube steel racks more sturdy and cost effective than the low rent Marcy home gym crap that you used to be able to get at Big Five, but they also accommodate cool attachments and you can add over time, turning your sleek minimalist garage gym into a nightmare of attachments that you forgot about. I have rings because one day I'll switch to calisthenics and show off my six pack while doing skin the cats. I also have this cool grip wrist roller thingy that for right now I'm telling myself I'm going to do in between sets until the end of time or until my forearms don't fit in a long sleeve button up shirt. But parallel dip bars are a must. Those are things that I actually do use, and they attach cleanly to the rack. It's probably the best exercise to slap meat on your ribs that doesn't involve a barbell. What do you know about that back arm, homie? Rogue is most well known for these racks, but I'm a Titan guy. I use Titan to deck out my gym in California, and it was cheaper. Racks were similar quality, and it was easier to get customer service. I've been open about the trade-off. Titan is known for mucking up shipping, sending incomplete orders, and so on. They've always sent out replacements immediately, no questions asked, and it has never been difficult to get somebody on the phone. The price savings just makes the small risk worthwhile for me. Now, the other benefit of the Power Rack is that you can avoid being a statistic of the predictable amount of people that die every year benching in the gym. But to bench press in a rack, you need a bench, and if you're gonna get one, you might as well get one that inclines. The rep incline is sturdy as hell. It's cost effective as far as incline benches go. Don't ask me why there's such a big price gap from a flat bench to one that can pivot. It is what it is. For whatever reason, they're stupidly expensive to get one that's worthwhile. If you don't like using incline benches for like chest supported type work or for doing incline presses, it really doesn't matter. Get a flat one. But I use this a lot for seated pressing variations in my mission to further my status as a one-trick pressing pony. And so far, we're right on track. Now, of course, for racks and benches, I'm sure you can find cheaper options on the Amazons, but these I found to be the best intersection of durability and cost effectiveness. And they came from companies with actual warranties, which is also kind of a bonus. Affiliate links are below for the exact pieces of equipment I have. Using them is, of course, appreciated, as this is what I'm going to be using for funding Theo's college account. But the catch is I'm only using this. If I don't get any affiliate clicks, I guess Theo's gonna have to go to trade school. Level 3, dumbbells, which basically makes you a bodybuilder. So you got a bar rack and bench. Even if you splurge and got it new from the source, that all has you sitting around 1,200 or so USD. And that's a full home gym in my book. You're all set, brother. Time to crack open that Trapper Keeper with the pages of 531 you printed off in 2010 and go to work. Now, the thing is, barbell training can admittedly get stale, and you will also be limited with problem solving as issues pop up in your training, and they will. Add in a full run of dumbbells, however, and you have more than enough options for exercises to target any aspect of your physique, isolate any weak point, and work around any issue. Now, most importantly to my broken, aging body is that dumbbells give a break from the beatdown of heavy barbell movements, so I can add more volume with less joint stress. Being able to do kickbacks and dumbbell extensions for my triceps instead of just more weighted dips and close grip pin presses is very much a blessing, and it's necessary these days. It doesn't just guarantee I have a workaround when the entire tube of Ben Gay I applied isn't doing the job on my frail glass elbows. It affords me some psychological relief because sometimes you just get tired of pushing through shit that hurts. I can more easily isolate my lower body as well. Step-ups, dumbbells, RDLs, lunges, sissy squats, and more all go fantastically well with dumbbells, and I can do a variety of raises and external rotations for my shoulder in hopes of pushing the replacement surgery back a few years. Of course, the obvious problem with dumbbells is cost effectiveness in space. Now, I have a special nostalgia for the Ivanko dumbbells, which were featured front and center in the magazine advertisements and photo shoots of every 90s era bodybuilding magazine. Now, a full run of such dumbbells is prohibitively expensive and takes up a fuck ton of room. If I want to do stupid heavy dumbbell pressing, I'll make a trip to a gym that stocks 150-pound dumbbells and has a bunch of bystanders, so my camera can capture their reaction as I detach my pec. At home, I just need options for rounding out my training and giving my joints a break. The NORDIC replaces a full rack from 5s to 80s and it adjusts insanely fast. Me and Laura can actually round robin dumbbells almost instantly. I mean, you literally just spin the handle, it clicks over, they're super cool. It takes up no space. Getting my hands on these was absolutely a great move. I have no regrets. Now, the trade-off is durability. If you're the guy that needs to be able to chuck the dumbbells after a set of presses, you're going to have to pay for premium steel that can withstand the chucking. But then again, I'd argue that you should be able to dismount from a reasonably challenging set of flies without destroying your equipment. Level 4, hips of the Berserker. We're going Viking status with the NORDIC Hyper. Now, they sent me this as part of a collaboration, and I've got a more thorough video pending where I'm going to go through it in great detail. But the truth is, I was going to buy this anyways. Hip extension is always the thing I'm deficient in, except when I'm at your mom's house. And I can always benefit from finding ways to sneak in more volume. As a strongman competitor, the hips are just never strong enough. But it's hard to just wedge in more barbell work for your glutes and spinal erectors with brute force and expect good results. Recovery has to be managed. So the question is, how do we get more growth stimulation with less general recovery cost? This is done by disadvantage variations. These are movements that use worse leverages, give more stretch, or otherwise require less weight to get the desired effect. And they can be huge for adding productive growth stress without making you feel broken and without blowing your recovery wad, which I did at your mom's house last night. For the hips, glute ham raises, back extensions, glute bridges, and any sit-up or leg raise variation is absolutely gold for this. You can argue about how effective each one is in a vacuum. We're talking about adding volume, adding to the total workload without sapping your recovery further to where it's detrimental. The hamstrings, glutes, abs, and erectors can handle a lot of frequency and volume with these. You can even do these semi-daily as part of a GPP routine, just like you would push-ups or pull-ups. And that's one of the reasons I wanted this in my garage. Now, in the past, these movements weren't much of an option for home gyms unless you wanted to dedicate a bunch of space to one implement that does one thing. The NORDIC Hyper has Swiss Army functionality, doing all of my favorite hip accessories that I listed, 45 and 90 degree back extensions and sit-ups, and there's a whole bunch of degree variations in between. I use the glute bridge pad for split squats, which is super handy. And again, there's a stupidly small footprint. It folds up really easily, takes up no space. Nordics and glute ham raises are just so good for isolating the hammies for strength. I have fond memories of spamming them when my deadlift was peaked at its absolute top. And my horsepower off the floor and all the way through to lockout was just through the roof. So that movement is better than a hamstring curl, but the reason people don't use it, partially because there aren't really Nordic benches around. I don't think they've really taken off. And there's a really high technical barrier because even with like band assistance, they're just really fucking hard to do. The thing about this piece of equipment though, is there are a bunch of intermediate joint angles, so you can scale it to be very steep or very shallow. There are also some cool considerations. They have foot pegs to help getting on easier. They have loops to attach bands for extra resistance. And they have pegs for holding weights so that the CrossFit home gymmers who like dive bombing their GHR sit-ups don't go ass over tin cup. So that's cool they thought of you guys. Full disclosure, this does feel less sturdy than it really is because of all the points of articulation. Pro tip, if you pull up on the seat as you twist the knob to set the pin, it is infinitely more secure, but there's still a lot of wobble that you might not be used to. I'm not going to be doing back extensions with an extra 400 pounds on a barbell like Pete Rubish, but I'm also not hesitating to grab 100 pounds worth of plates and knocking off some reps either. If I can make use of this thing while chasing an elite deadlift, I think most everyone else can as well. If you have the space and the coin, then sure, fine. Go buy the Rogue Donkey. It's 3 times the price, takes up 3 times the space, and you can't adjust the angles. But it's built to survive cannon fire, which I guess you need to spare the millimeters of wobble that would otherwise send you into a rage-fueled rant on your home gym review subreddit. The truth is, for the price and all the problems it solves, for a home gym where options are limited, it's not even a question. This just offers a lot that really nothing else can. Once again, Baby Theo's college account is listed below. Level 5, freaking functional, bro. That's right, we're talking sandbag training. Now, before you click off, hear me out. I'm on a mission to get a sandbag in every lifter's hands. There's a resistance among many strength athletes to break away from machines and barbells, but some strongman events really are super accessible. They're easy to do and they provide insane benefits. The sandbag is easily at the top of the list. To be clear, we're not talking about the soy duffel bags with handles that you use to make your mud runs marginally more uncomfortable. These are bags equal to or in excess of your body weight. And there's value in learning to manhandle these large, round, awkward, dirty implements. Just ask your mom. This isn't parlor trick strength, by the way, either, which some strongman movements can fall into. They can get kind of gimmicky. gimmicky, like the fucking circus dumbbell. God, I hate the circus dumbbell. No. Sandbag training is real strength. It's like Houdini wouldn't have died if he did sandbag picks type of strength. The pecs have to squeeze hard in a maximal fly movement while the biceps and muscles of the upper back pull in. And that crushing, squeezing dynamic makes your shoulder joint titanium strong. Maneuvering awkward implements in a deep stretch position strengthens your erectors, increases flexibility, and actually makes your spine more durable. That development you're never going to get by staying in your strongest upright position during a deadlift. The long pull from the ground to shoulder or the long amount of time under tension that you have on a max carry just adds so much development to the meat of the back, and it has a GPP conditioning component baked in. If you don't get on treadmills because cardio kills gains, but you won't do sandbag carries either, you're not optimizing, you're just fucking lazy. Own it. Sandbags do wipe you out, but in a very specific way. It's the way you used to feel after football practice, the way you feel after a 4-hour team workout where you're struggling to sit upright and shovel that 5th sushi roll into your gullet at the all-you-can-eat sushi buffet. It tells you did something productive. It's not the type of burnout that puts you out of commission for 4 days or interferes with your next workout. You can actually adapt to train these with some regularity around your typical deadlift and squat days. Now, I always make a point to do sandbag work when I make it out to Strength Built New Braunfels, which is a badass strongman gym, but I just got a Cerberus bag in my garage to be a regular part of training throughout the week. There's a lot of skill I have to get down for contest-specific stuff because OSG and other federations decided they fucking love sandbags, so I got to do a bunch with the sandbag. But I know, as much of a pain in the ass as it is, I'm going to get strong in the process. Now, you can get a regular bag like the Iron Mind or like the original Cerberus ones, but regular bags fucking suck to load. These Velcro bags will save years off your life from lowering your anxiety. You're not going to have to go through like glue or zip ties or duct tape or metal clamps to try to keep the sand from pouring out. We did that for the longest time. It was absolutely horrible. And I've never met somebody that got a really, really good handle on that. Save the stress, splurge for the 2nd gen Velcro bags from Cerberus. And they're also just super durable. Like you only need one and you can add or remove some sand as needed. 40% of your deadlift, that's a pretty good ballpark. You should be able to manhandle that for some good hard work. And then if you fall in love with it, stock up on a set of 3. You want a light one for warming up, for explosive conditioning stuff. Then you want a medium one for like generic working sets where you do AMRAPs, really long carries. And then finally, and this is key, you want the heavy as shit bag, the one that sits in the corner and stares at you condescendingly. I'm telling you, nothing adds motivation to your isolated home gym workouts like having a challenge implement that you can't lift that belittles you with its very presence. My plan is to get the biggest Cerberus bag, load it with 400 pounds worth of sand, and then spray paint the mother-in-law on it. Little tip for sandbag workouts, you want to start with a lot of practice singles to get the technique down. 15 to 20 picks on your own time is a workout in and of itself, and you pick up some technical practice. All you need to do is pick it, lap it, and then air load it and drop it and repeat on your own time. And over time, you'll find that you can pick it and move it a little more efficiently. When you're comfy with that, then you can program some actual working protocol. Like you can do a 1-minute AMRAP of air loading, of shouldering, or carrying it for max distance. You can rest 5 minutes and do it again. That by itself, damn good sandbag workout. You can do EMOMs, like a 10x2, 2 loads every minute on the minute, or you can do 100-foot sprints with a minute in between. Don't do them all, just pick one. Do it several times per week for 6 weeks, and I guarantee that by the end of it, every improvement in loading and carrying is going to translate to a stronger back, better endurance, and a bigger pull. I have the Cerberus ones linked to Amazon. You'll probably get them faster. I do think there's a small markup though, so it's kind of a trade-off. You can also go straight through their site. The Cerberus leaves are also pretty fucking dope while you're at it. Level 6, yes, more deadlift volume. Enter the trap bar. Now, I'm super excited about this bar. A trap bar by itself is kind of niche. Like I need it to simulate car deadlifts, which are always side handle, and they pop up in strongman every so often. It's a pretty specific movement pattern. The biggest deadlifter doesn't always win. Beyond that, it is good as an accessory to drill leg drive for conventional deadlifters, as long as you're using the low handles. With the high handles, it's really just good for jerking you off. Now, when you make an open trap bar, it becomes less of a one-dimensional niche implement. You can use it for a lot of different things. You can pull the center of mass back towards you because your body isn't in the way. So you can get a bigger stretch on RDLs, which is fantastic. You can use it now for lunges and step ups, and rows actually become viable. And I prefer all of these with an open trap bar over dumbbells if I have the option. You always see people recommend trap bar carries, but nobody really does it because it's a fucking death trap. But by having the back end open, if you drop it, the thing just rolls away. instead of removing your Achilles tendon. Now, this action of the weight coming back makes it kind of like a cambered bar where the weights can swing back into you. You get the same effect where the spine is no longer loaded so much, but the main movers take on a huge stress. But wait, somebody caught on to this and decided to make the rep trap bar a goddamn cambered bar. Camber bar good mornings are one of my favorite deadlift accessories, so much that I almost got a cambered bar just for that one lift. Bars that push the weight forward like safety bars tax the muscles around the spine, the upper back, the mid back. But when you push the weight back towards your hips, that deloading of the spine allows you to recover so much more easily. So I can drill more horsepower in my hips throughout the week without compounding stress in my low back, which is already hanging on by a thread at this point. That means more deadlift volume that doesn't run me into the ground. That, my friends, is how you increase your maximal recoverable volume. You don't just treat every lift like it's the same. A cambered bar by itself has limited use and takes up a ton of space, so I was torn. But this solved that problem, and it made getting this an absolute no-brainer. When you add in the built-in deadlift jack and the fact that it's rackable, I was slapping my keyboard to make the purchase happen faster. I've only gotten it to 500 pounds, and it's pretty damn sturdy so far, but it's rated for like 1,400, so I think I'll be fine. I have this bar, I have the incline bench, and I have an axle that I got from Reps, and so far, I've been really happy with this. So this, my friend, is where 90% of my training is going to come from. This is all of the training just about that I'm going to be doing in prep for the big shows this year, and I'm confident I'll be able to make do. Now, of course, you can get cool things, you can get stuff you like, stuff that's interesting to you, but I think it's important to know where the bread and butter is, what the big movers are, and how you get those into a limited space without breaking the budget. And anytime you can combine stuff into like one piece of equipment, I think it's just a bonus. And these are all plenty durable and they've served me well so far. So we're gonna jump right into it. We're gonna talk about the new project. I'm very excited to bring you Base Strength AI. No matter what program you do, eventually progress is gonna stall. That balance of stress and recovery, it's going to get a little wonky. And the only way you keep going is if you personalize it to yourself. So as far as the application, Base Strength AI, it's not generative AI. It's not, hey, ChatGPT, write me a program. This is all fine-tuned, exhaustive decision-making that we set based on the information you put in. So to start, there's a huge questionnaire. Everything from your lifting style, your perceived weaknesses, your tolerance to work, your training history, all of these things get factored into trying to set a good starting point for you. That is put against a backdrop of my templates. Now, I think my app is unique in that I have 3 to choose from, where the others, there's just kind of a default, like this is how we program. The ones we have are Bull Mastiff, 70s Powerlifter, probably 2 of the most popular ones, and then Block is a new one. It is a very long, I think 24-week block periodization structure. They all differ substantially based on how much barbell work there is, the set and rep scheme, and the method of periodization. So I started out thinking this is a cool gadget for people that are just highly serious and want the ultimate edge on their training, or for people that just like trying new shit, that try every new app when it comes out, or for people that just wanted to offload their decision-making completely onto somebody else. All valid reasons to try this out. But as time went on, I started to see this more as something that inevitably had to be the replacement for remote coaching. All of the things that are important moment to moment are things that are usually outside of the control of a remote coach. This cuts that out at the knees because every time you plug in information, you're getting direct feedback like, nope, this is what you're doing now. This didn't go as planned. This is plan B. Oh, this went really well. You're sandbagging it. Kick it up a notch. So all of that is taken from the beginning through each workout, through each week, through each block for as long as you run the programs. And again, that makes every single program you run viable to you. And look, if you're not a guy that's sauced out of his mind or have all the elite genetics, this is the type of stuff that you want to tighten up. So hopefully this will help people the way I really truly think that it will. So if any of that sounds interesting, go to basestrength.com, try it out. There's a free trial. Again, so much gratitude. Really happy to be part of this cutting edge tech. The tagline is the heart of old school training, the mind of cutting edge AI. Do you like that tagline? I'm really fucking proud of that tagline. I came up with that at like 4 a.m. when I was screwing with the website on like Sunday, the night before it was supposed to launch. It's not just that it's catchy, it's that I really think that encapsulates how I feel about this. I wanted to use technology, science in a way that was actionable, in a way that actually provided something tangible that could directly make your training better. But I also wanted to preserve what I thought was the bare bones, the soul, the heart of what training is. And that is good movements done with a lot of effort, consistently, for a lot of work driven forward over time, like just being on a warpath. I need to grow like it's my job. That heart is baked into these programs. That's what you're going to experience if you run through it. And you're going to know flat out, no bones about it, am I running this program the way Bromley wanted me to? So hit the link. Thanks again. Till next time. This is Bromley. I'll see ya.